microphone?
It's for the sound system, or it's your?
No, it's I'm gonna record and I can give it for your channel if you want.
Okay.
You know? Okay.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Is there a cup?
Cup.
A cup. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada Ke, Shri Shri Radha Govinda Ke, Shri Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ke, Go Premanande. Thank you.
Welcome everyone.
Oops,
Thank you
excuse
all
me.
for coming here. Today is our first time doing the darshan room upstairs in the new Bhakti Lab.
Oh,
So, and we are very blessed to have a special guest, Bhakti Caitanya Swami. First time I saw Bhakti Caitanya Swami was the Govardhan Tour DVD, where you get to see all the holy places. He would take you on a virtual tour to these wonderful sacred spots, and he would tell all different special significances of those places. So Darshan Room is a program we have every Sunday. It is geared for the local New Yorker. We have a lot of kind of aunties and uncles downstairs who've been doing this for 30, 40 years, or maybe many lifetimes. But we have this program basically for the people coming in off the street, the local New Yorkers, so they can kind of get access to Eastern philosophy, the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Does anybody know what the word darshan means? Comment. What is the word darshan mean?
A blessing by God or Guru, like giving bliss, or it can come through a teaching, or
Yeah, so darshan, a spiritual meeting with great teachers. Any other meanings?
well, it just means to see.
To see, yes. Like this is called a Dura Darshanam, television. And philosophy in India is called also darshan because it's how you see the world. So this room is like a room where we discuss spiritual philosophy. We have spiritual meetings. We'll meet with great spiritual teachers. And it gives us a vision to see the world. And so we're very blessed to have Bhakti Caitanya Swami. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much indeed. So this is the first program in this setup here.
Yesterday we had the grand opening.
Oh, I see.
And then on Tuesdays they're going to have their regular lotus room.
Oh,
And this is
okay.
the first time we're doing the darshan room, the Sunday
Okay.
program here.
Anyway, it's fantastic. Look at the view. It's unbelievable. Wonderful.
And there's a certain room if you get in the hotel, you can see.
Are you Rasta?
I mean that can be part of me, but I feel like the truth is beyond like
Oh, okay.
words. But I wouldn't identify with Rasa, but
Okay, that's all right.
it's a cool philosophy.
It's just that one of our devotees met Bob Marley
Oh, really? That's so cool.
in a hotel in Knightsbridge. When he was here, it was the late 70s.
Oh, wow.
He met Bob Marley in the hotel. He snuck into the hotel, one of these ritzy hotels, somehow got in and was going door to door, knocked on a door, and Bob Marley opened the door.
Wow.
And Bob Marley was very nice. And he knew about Hare Krishna, something. And he took a book and gave, I think, £5, which, in those days, we're talking about almost 50 years ago. It's quite a bit, so yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's similar to how you guys represent like Krishna in his original skin color.
Yeah.
And like so Rastafarianism, and they do similar.
Something similar, yeah, it's good. Jase, chant Hare Krishna.
Sorry.
It's all right. That's Rasta language.
Oh, sorry, I was ignorant
Sorry.
on that.
Don't worry. Anyway, everyone, Hare Krishna to you all, and nice to see you all. And I have just come from JFK Airport, having flown in from Dubai. Yeah, and the day before, what was it now? Yeah, yesterday, I flew into Dubai from India, basically. So yeah, according to my time, well, at least if we take it by Dubai time, I've been up since 8 o'clock last night, New York time. So if I fall asleep, just don't worry too much. Or if I sort of, yeah, that would be best. Or if I just sort of drift off in the wrong direction, something just, give me a little pat. Well, I thought that, as our devotee said, and was it you? No, it wasn't. Who did the announcement? Oh, it was you, sorry. I'm half asleep, or I'm 3/4 asleep, actually. What's your... Haribol. What's your name, Prabhu?
Nityananda Chandradas.
Nityananda Chandradas. Prabhu said that the program here is sort of geared towards people who are not necessarily, I mean, it's flexible, of course, but people who are not necessarily familiar with Krishna consciousness, or even may possibly just literally not know anything about Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So I thought I'd read a particular verse it's actually a bit of a sequence of maybe half a dozen verses or something, which are explaining about, you could say, the most foundational practices in Krishna consciousness. And foundational, not in the sense that they're for beginners, actually they're for everyone. But they're also for beginners or even pre-beginners. You know, people are just sort of checking things out and seeing what's going on. What is Krishna consciousness? Yeah. But it's all extremely, just fully relevant, even up to a very advanced stage. I think we should put the microphone a bit closer. Yeah. And turn the volume down, yeah, but we don't want to start feeding back or anything like that. Okay, well, this is okay. Right, so here we go. Now, for those of you who are already a little familiar with Krishna consciousness, I'm going to begin by chanting a mantra 3 times. And we can do it responsively, because I think, just looking around, I think there's enough of you who are here who are familiar, who would be familiar with this mantra. So here we go. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Anyway, if you're not familiar with that mantra, don't stress, don't worry about it. But it's just nice for sort of setting the mood, setting the scene. So here we go. We're going to read a verse from Caitanya Caritamrita. And we're going to read from the Madhya Lila, which means the middle section, verse 22. And this verse 22 is Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Srila Sanatana Goswami. So chapter 22, and we will read verse 128, which is very foundational indeed, but, relevant, completely relevant to even, the most experienced practitioner of Krishna consciousness. So I'll just read the verse. It's nice verse in Bengali. Sadhu Sangha Namakir. Well, maybe we can do it responsively for those who are familiar with that. Yeah, let's do it. 1 line at a time. There's 2 lines. Sadhu Sangha Namakirtan Bhagavat Shravana. Maturavasa Shri Murtira Shradaya Sevana. Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavat Shravana Mathura Vasa Shri Murtira Shradaya Sevana Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavat Shravana Mathura Vasa Shri Murtira Shradaya Sevana. Right, so I won't go through the word for word, but I'll just read the translation. One should, so what is being presented here is 5 particular activities, devotional, spiritual, transcendental activities, which, as I mentioned a couple of times already, they're very foundational and they're accessible. Anyone can do them, even if it's like your first day of visiting a Hare Krishna program. It's just very accessible. So, right, here we go. Here's the translation. One should associate with devotees, chant the holy name of the Lord, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, reside at Mathura, and worship the deity with faith and veneration. And let me just make a little social comment. We got the message, thank you. Oh, well done. I mean, not bad, at least. Let me just inform you of some one interesting little point which you might, possibly apply. I used to, back in the old days when it was possible to go to Russia, and, possible to go to Russia. I used to go to this one place, which I imagine no one has heard of, Siktivka. And the devotees there rented a premises for doing their programs. They had like a permanent arrangement, certain days of the week for years. And that place did not just have double glazing, if you understand what I mean by double glazing, 2 layers of glass. It had triple glazing, and if you put some distance between the layers, so it was like, 3 inches, one layer, the outer layer of glass, 3 inches, another layer, 3 inches, another layer. Then when the devotees would have kirtan, as devotees often do, as they were doing apparently while waiting for my humble arrival. But they could have the kirtan of the year practically, and you could look in from the outside and see the devotees jumping and etc., but you wouldn't hear a thing. Nothing. 0. Something to think about, because I think you do get some noises. Okay, let me just read through this verse again. 5 activities, 5 very important and valuable activities, spiritual activities. One should associate with devotees, chant the holy name of the Lord, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, reside at Mathura, and worship the deity with faith and veneration. So, interesting little point, Prabhupada does not give a purport for this verse, but, or because, Lord Chaitanya, who's the person who's speaking the verse, he, in the next several verses, he basically gives a purport to that verse. So this is the next verse. I'll just read the translation. These 5 limbs of devotional service are the best of all. Even a slight performance of these 5 awakens love for Krishna. Love for Krishna and just love for everyone, in fact. And then what he does is, the next some few verses, he just little bit expands on the list of 5. Just a little bit, and in a different order, actually. So this is the next verse, 130. With love and full faith, one should worship the lotus feet of the deity. I don't know if you noted it, but that was the last of the 5, as they're listed in the verse itself that we're focusing on. But now he puts it, I mean, it's the same person speaking, but he puts it as the first point. And then the next verse, he talks of 2 of them. One should taste the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of pure devotees. And one should associate with the devotees who are more advanced than oneself and who are endowed with a similar type of affection for the Lord. That's 2 points there. Hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, associating with devotees, but just elaborated on just a little bit, but, very important points made there about hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and associating with devotees. And the next verse discusses also 2 of the 5 points made. One should congregationally chant the holy name of the Lord and reside in Vrindavan. And Prabhupada does give purports for each of these verses that I just read, but they give their own purports in and of themselves. So then another sort of explanatory verse talking about the unique importance of these 5 activities. The power of these 5 principles is very wonderful and difficult to understand. Even without faith in them, a person who is offenseless can awaken his dormant love of Krishna simply by being a little connected with them. So I hope you caught these points just kind of elaborating slightly, because the elaborations they give, although it's just little element added to each one, they're really important. So let's just say a few words about these 5, and I'll do it in the order that Lord Chaitanya has then, expanded on them a bit. So, right, this is verse 130. Yeah. Right. Let me read 129 again. These 5 limbs of devotional service are the best of all. Even a slight performance of these 5 awakens love for Krishna. Isn't that amazing? Think about it. A slight performance of these 5, it doesn't have to be, of course it's really nice if you really get into them and just get absorbed in them. But even if you don't do that, you just do little bit of them, then they awaken love for Krishna. And along with love for Krishna, they awaken love for everyone and everything. There's an interesting little story I can tell you, just a short little story, that Mother Yashoda, Krishna's mother, not exactly mother in the sense that we all have mothers, and some of you are mothers also, but she has that type of attitude towards Krishna, that type of attraction towards Krishna, as if she's his mother, which she isn't, because the Supreme Lord doesn't have a mother or a father. Rather, he is both the father and the mother of all living entities, not even just the humans, but all the creatures and birds and fish and so on and so forth. Even, would you believe, the cockroaches. Krishna is the Lord of the cockroaches. And just every living entity. So anyway, this little story about Mother Yashoda, she has that attitude. And it's not just like some sort of, a slight type of mood like that, but she is just completely, but totally, at least 108%, she's just completely focused that she is Krishna's mother and he is her son. And there's just nothing anyone could say to sway her, even in the slightest, from those attitudes and the whole lifestyle. So she's living there in that role, and Krishna accepts her like that because she loves him like that. And Krishna accepts people as they love him. Or actually, ultimately, he accepts everyone in whatever attitude they have towards him. And unfortunately, some people have negative attitudes towards him, and he reciprocates accordingly. Not in a sort of aggressive way, but he's just kind of, all right, if that's the way you want to be, then you can be like that. But if someone has just a little affection, or even not affection, but just say appreciation of Krishna, that, wow, he's interesting, he's impressive, he's like this, he's like that, then Krishna appreciates that. So, but Mother Yashoda, she loves Krishna, literally, absolutely. So they are living in Vrindavan. When Krishna comes here to this world, he appears in a particular place or a particular area, usually, the Vrindavan area. So she's there as the mother, and every day he goes out herding the cows. Well, when he was 3, just shortly after he turned 3, he started herding the calves. Then he graduated to the cows when he was about 6. So anyway, her affection for him is just so deep, and heartfelt, absolutely, that when he goes out every day to herd the calves or later on the cows, then, and she's at home carrying on with her household activities, she misses him. She misses him. Just in the extreme, she misses him. Like I remember the first day I went to school, I was 5. I'm born and raised in New Zealand, and we begin school, or at least then, at the age of 5. So I had just turned 5. I went for my first day at school, and you know what? My poor little mother, bless her heart, she cried. And so did I, actually. Feeling separation, yes, that's life. That's relationships. But when Krishna, when God is your child, then it's the same type of relationship, parent to child, child to parent. But it's just a lot deeper. But just really a lot deeper. So anyway, she's missing him and missing him and missing him. But she carries on with her household duties. But then as she's cleaning around, she sees a pair of Krishna's little shoes. And of course, she's already remembering him, completely remembering him. But now she sees that pair of his shoes. And there's just like this extra flood of remembrance and affection. So she picks up the shoes and holds them to her heart and cries. Yeah. Not that she is, it's not just she likes shoes, but these are Krishna's shoes. If they were somebody else's, she'd overlook them. But these are Krishna's shoes. So in effect, see, the phenomenon which is happening is that in effect, she's seeing the shoes, but she's not exactly seeing the shoes. She's seeing Krishna. Because the shoes and Krishna are sort of inseparable, you could say. So she's seeing Krishna there. And she reacts to them not as shoes, but she reacts to them as Krishna. Yeah, this is an interesting point to consider. Yeah, so as I just read, just a little performance of these activities, even a slight performance of these 5 awakens love for Krishna. Right, so then the first one, at least as Lord Chaitanya expands on them a bit, is that with love and full faith, one should worship the lotus feet of the deity. And anyone who doesn't know what is meant by the deity, just look out the window. Isn't that amazing? It's just great. Extremely thoughtful, actually. to do like that. And there they are, Shishi Radha Govinda. Isn't it incredible? Wow, so beautiful. And just interesting little point, when someone like just an outright materialist, unfortunately, there's quite a few of them around. Occasionally an outright materialist walks into this temple room just down beneath us. Every now and then someone who's just really a staunch materialist comes, and they see the deities just like now. They're dressed up and ornaments and etc., garlands, and wow. And the people think, why did they do this with these statues? What's going on? That's life, People think in different ways. And devotees or people who are kind of like, devotees, or they have interest in Krishna consciousness, they see the deities and they don't feel like that usually. But if they're like in the very, very early stages, they may just feel, yeah, okay, looks nice. But then after some time, after someone has been practicing Krishna consciousness for some years, for example, and people then they see the deities, then it's really, can even be an overwhelming experience. There's a letter of Srila Prabhupada's to Yamuna. Some of you would have heard of Yamuna. Devi Dasi, unfortunately, she passed away a few years ago. But Yamuna, one of the very first devotees from, must have been the late 60s, mid to late, in America. So she wrote a letter. Prabhupada responds to a letter in which she has presented some questions. We don't see her letter, but we see Prabhupada's response. So we get, it's pretty clear what she was asking about. Prabhupada, she was head pujari in London, Bhaktivedanta Manor at the time. And she wrote and asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada responded saying, when you do deity worship, you must do this, and you must do that, and you must not do some other things, and etc. Some kind of little bit technical information of what to do and not do when you're actually involved in deity worship. And then Prabhupada says that you say that when you see the deities, sometimes tears come to your eyes. And you wonder, what is this? And Prabhupada says, just in a very simple language, Prabhupada says, this is bhava. And then Prabhupada goes on to say, but when you're doing the arti, you must do this and not do that. Prabhupada doesn't say, it's bhava, wow, amazing. He just says, yeah, this is bhava, which means, a type of ecstasy in Krishna consciousness. So, okay, with love and full faith, one should worship the lotus feet of the deity. These verses, these 5 points, are expanded upon in considerable detail in Nectar of Devotion, one of our books. I'm sure some of you have seen that book. If I remember correctly, it's chapter, it's either maybe it's 13, it might be 14 of Nectar of Devotion. And the chapter's called I think it's 5 potent forms of devotional service, something like that. And it's discussing these 5, but in much more detail. And the way that Srila Prabhupada Or Rupa Goswami was the person who originally wrote that book. Prabhupada translated it and commented on it. So it's very interesting the way Rupa Goswami and then Prabhupada presents like appreciation for how wonderful worshipping the deity is and how beneficial worshipping the deity is. The way they do it is by apparently criticizing it. Can you imagine? Apparently criticizing, like saying you shouldn't do it. Don't do deity worship. So it's in the form of just little conversation between like a staunch materialist and a fairly new devotee. Does this happen often? Must be a lot of criminals around, or a lot of fires or accidents or something. So yes, this non-devotee speaking to like a new devotee, but someone who they're getting into it, they like it. He says, you know, if you go to Vrindavan, whatever you do, don't go to the temple of Govinda. There he is down there. Don't go. Don't go. Because if you do go, then you will just lose interest in materialistic friendship and materialistic acquisitions and, you know, all that sort of materialistic way of life. If you see the deity. So, yeah, so just don't go. So you get it, everyone. If you want to remain deeply entrenched in materialism, don't, whatever you do, don't go and look at the deities. All right? Don't look. I'm just joking, but don't look. Be careful, because you don't know what it'll do for you. Yeah, right, because it has a great effect. Like tangible effect, you could say objectively verifiable or experienced effect. Yeah. So then the next one he goes on to here is hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. One should taste the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of pure devotees. Yeah. Interesting, he says one should taste the meaning. Have you ever tasted the meaning of something like a language? I learned Russian when I used to go to Russia. And I'm sure some of you know some languages other than English. But do you get a taste like, wow, like a real feeling? It's a real experience. It's not just sort of, mechanically memorizing verbal conjugations or declensions and grammar and all that sort of thing. But you really, there's a whole emotion which is involved. But one should taste the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of pure devotees. In other words, best to discuss these spiritual literatures, ideally at least. I mean, the ideal is not always, possible to do, but at least ideally, as much as you're able, you should discuss these things with other practitioners, and then the whole experience will be much deeper. I can remember actually an experience I had back in about, I think it was 91, when I attended a seminar in Vrindavan, the Vrindavan Institute for Higher Education. I attended a seminar on Nectar of Devotion. The first 18 or 19 chapters. And I'd already read, just myself on my own, I'd already read the book about 4 or 5 times. So I thought, yeah, sure. Nectar of Devotion, yeah, I know Nectar of Devotion, of course I do. But then we did the seminar. It was an hour a day for a month. And by the time we finished that month, it was an experience like I had never read the book before. Oh yeah, it was amazing. Such a transformational experience, and so much greater understanding came because, there's discussion and the seminars being conducted by a very experienced and knowledgeable devotee who is able to answer questions really nicely. And yeah, that was my experience, even though I had read the book. I really thought I knew Nectar of Devotion. But that was my experience. So, it's, whether it be Srimad Bhagavatam, whether it be Bhagavad Gita, but if we want to go deeper into it and get a clearer understanding, really a very good thing to do is to take a seminar, which is given by an experienced devotee. Right, which is what he's saying here, effectively. And when I first came to New York, first came to America, I think, it was, what was it? About 30 years ago. And I was in this building upstairs, and this happened. I thought, my God, what's happening? The building's going to collapse. Because in London, we also have, there's the underground railway system, and it's not as big, I think, as New York's, but it's big. But when the trains go under the buildings don't shake, and you don't hear anything. I hope I'm not insulting New York. So, right, that's a point about Srimad Bhagavatam. And, again, the way in Nectar of Devotion, this particular point is elaborated upon, is very interesting. It's not exactly a criticism. Maybe it's a type of criticism, but it's not like a blatant criticism like in regards to deity worship. But it's some person who's not so much into Krishna consciousness, but he knows something, speaking to someone who is fond of reading Srimad Bhagavatam. And so the person speaking says, I can tell, you have been reading Srimad Bhagavatam, haven't you? Haven't you? And when I read that or heard that discussed the first time, the picture that came into my mind was of someone who is drunk. Someone who's drunk. But, if you've had much experience with drunk people, maybe a lot of you wouldn't have had. Fortunately or unfortunately, I've had a lot of experience with such people. So sometimes someone who's drunk and sort of staggering around, you say to him, "Have you been drinking?" He'll say, "No, not me." And you can say, "Listen, you've been drinking." "No, I haven't been drinking." So that's what this fellow's saying basically. I can tell, I can see you have been reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Now how can he tell? Because there are certain symptoms, as when a person is drunk or has been smoking some marijuana or taking something, there are symptoms. And someone who's a little experienced, a little knowledgeable can just tell, what is going on here. So when a person reads Srimad Bhagavatam, or for that matter, real spiritual literature, then it, like worship of the deity, it has a tangible impact on oneself, one's consciousness, one's attitudes, one's perceptions in life, of life, really affects these things. I remember, the first time I met devotees, I am an old man, as you can see. I remember I used to be giving class in London when I was 21. I was the youngest person in the room. And there's a whole lot of people, and they're all older than me. Now, usually, I look around at the audience and I say, yeah, I'm the oldest person, but I'm not today. Yeah, there's a couple of people older than me. So, but I remember the first time I met or saw devotees was 1972 in Auckland, New Zealand. I was at university, in Auckland University, and I was walking along through the university, and I heard this sound like little bells ringing, little tinkling, like little tinkling of bells. That's what I thought, coming from my right. So I looked over, and there, just by the devotee with the blue T-shirt, there, yes, that's you, that's right. Or maybe a little further away, but like 15 meters away, or not more than 20, was Srila Prabhupada himself. Yeah, he was the first devotee I saw, actually. Although I had heard the mantra before, because it was Top of the Pops. Oh yeah, I think it was late 69, or maybe early 1970, something like that. And at the time, I was a major Top of the Pops fan. Yeah, we've been around, I'm afraid. So I'd heard the Hare Krishna mantra, and all my friends, it was number one. It was number one. Everyone heard, all the young people heard it. So we all knew about something, the Hare Krishna mantra, but we didn't know what it is and what to do about it. So there I saw Srila Prabhupada. And I'm talking about the effect, the tangible effect of, particularly in this case, of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So, yeah, and it's a little bit of a long story, but there was Prabhupada walking almost directly towards me with two young ladies, like I'd say probably early 20s, one on either side, each with a basket of red rose petals, dancing very gracefully, really beautiful scene, and throwing the rose petals in front of Prabhupada's feet as he walked through the university. And I had never seen anything like that done before with anyone, not even with the Beatles, you know, or what to speak of the Prime Minister or the President or whoever, you know, that sort of person. I just never seen anything like that before. And the spontaneous sort of just blip which came into my head from I don't know where was this thought just came, this must be like heaven. It was just such a beautiful scene. Prabhupada walking like this, you know, sort of gliding, cruising through, and these girls just dancing very rhythmically and nicely and throwing the rose petals. Wow, this must be like heaven, which is true. But then what happened after that was, and it was very tangible experience, my gosh. In Auckland, the university's just up from the main street, and I would catch the bus there every day from my parents' place, and I'd have to walk up the main street and then go up to the university. So as I was walking up, starting from just after that experience, I would see the people running around and doing this and deciding that and, you know, trying to just do whatever they're doing in very materialistic ways. And it was such an experience of like, what are these people doing? What are they doing to themselves? Wow. And a feeling of sort of pity even, or something like that. They're wasting their time. And I'd never really thought like that before. I mean, to some degree, but not like this. And I take it that was on the basis, that was happening on the basis of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of pure devotees, in Prabhupada's association. And then one should associate with the devotees who are more advanced than oneself and who are endowed with a similar type of affection for the Lord. Well, you know, it's not that we should only associate with devotees who are more advanced than us. We should associate with any nice devotees. Yeah, sure. But particularly beneficial to associate with devotees who are more advanced, obviously. Yeah, you can learn a lot. In a day, just in an hour of such association, you can really learn a lot. So it's good to associate with devotees who are more advanced than oneself. You know, there are 3 categories or levels of devotees in relation to ourselves, if you get that idea. Not just in a sort of, you know, a broad sense, but specifically in relation to you. There are those who are junior to you, then those who are more or less on the same level, you know, give or take, and then those who are more advanced than you, and someone who may be more advanced than you may be junior or will be junior to someone else who is more advanced. So it's all like, you know, relative to one's own position. But yeah, particularly to associate with devotees who are more advanced than ourselves. And second point, who are endowed with a similar type of affection for the Lord. You know, Prabhupada taught us how to practice Krishna consciousness. We who, coming from sort of nowhere spiritually, even you know, with respect and affection for those coming from Hindu backgrounds, but, you know, Prabhupada and Krishna consciousness and the ideas of Krishna consciousness or Krishna just in Hinduism in general, they're sort of worlds apart, actually. Yeah, so we should associate with devotees who are more advanced and who have the same type of ideas of what is Krishna consciousness, how to practice it, what to do, what not to do, like Prabhupada presented. And let's see, what's next? Oh yeah. One should congregationally chant the holy name of the Lord. Well, you know, in many types of activities, it's better, or it's nicer, the experience is nicer to do those activities with others than on your own. Now, I know that here in America, we're in America, aren't we? Yeah, I just arrived. You know, seriously, sometimes I forget where I am because I move around too much. But anyway, in America, you don't play so much cricket, do you? Not a lot? Rugby? Huh? Baseball, that's what I was thinking. So you can play baseball with yourself. You throw the ball in the air, grab the bat, and hit the ball. And that's, you're playing, sort of playing baseball. A one-man baseball game. Anyway, you can do that, and cricket too. You can throw the ball in the air and hit it with the bat. Rugby or, you know, American, what do you call it, football, do you call it? Yeah, I watched, not a match, but I saw like about 10 or 15 minutes of I think the last, you know, the major competition, what do they call it? Huh?
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. And don't ask me what was going on because I couldn't figure it out. But I mean, I figured it out a bit. And at the end, one guy held the ball, wow, really long. And the fellow, his man, way up at the front, was already over the line, the scoring line, and he caught the ball. And that was it. And they won the game. And I thought, if that was rugby, he would have been offside. Yeah, he would have been penalized. But anyway, you can play these games on your own. Yeah. Sort of. You can play tennis. If you've got a wall and a tennis ball and a tennis racket, you can just hit the ball against the wall, and then, you know, it bounces back, and then you hit it back, and et cetera, et cetera. And you're sort of playing a one-man tennis match. Or table tennis. I used to do the same thing with table tennis. But it's much more fun and interesting and, you know, exciting to do these games with groups of people. Am I right? Are you a cricket player? Yes. Are you not? I was a cricket player. Anyway, okay. Yeah. So Krishna consciousness, I'm not encouraging that you should get into these games, because they're a little silly actually, some of them. You know, golf, I used to play golf also. Golf means you hit this little ball, small ball, around long distances, like 200, 300, 400 meters. And you hit it into the hole, and then you take it out of the hole. And then you hit it again. It's a bit silly. It's good exercise, though. Some sport is good exercise. So, but anyway, the thing is this, my point is this. Sorry if I diverged a bit there, but Krishna consciousness is more fun. It's more exciting. It's more interesting. And it's more enlightening when you do it with others. Yeah, when you do it with others. So there's another verse spoken by Lord Chaitanya elsewhere. Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastre Koi, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. That a moment, just a moment's association, means like a split second, association with a great devotee. All the scriptures say that just that little, extremely brief, like split second association with a great devotee can give you all perfection. Yeah. Right. And we're almost there. Devotees and friends. Yeah. I will go on for approximately 5 more minutes. So bear with me. Where were we? Yeah, congregationally chanting. And then last is, one should reside in Vrindavan or Mathura. Vrindavan or Mathura. In the verse it says Mathura. In the elaboration it says Vrindavan, which is sort of 6 of one or half a dozen of another, really. So, does that mean, well, these are places in India, very important sacred places in India, very famous. And yeah, today is Sunday, isn't it? In Vrindavan today, there would have been thousands of people. So many people, it's not really worth going there. It's just too crowded. Gee. Yeah, so it's not that you have to go and actually geographically, go there, move there, uproot yourself from wherever you're living and, the life you're leading, and actually go and live there somehow, get a house or a flat or something, and live there, and, that you need to do that, otherwise you will not be complying with what is being stated here or advised here. The thing is, what we should do is we should spiritualize our residence. Yeah, we should spiritualize our residence. If you have a house, if you have a flat, it's fine. Whatever you've got. But you should spiritualize it as much as you can. Like, for example, they haven't done it here yet, but I'm sure they're going to in due course, is get some nice pictures and put them up on the wall. I mean, they just, started using this, so they haven't got the whole place together yet. But I'm sure they'll do it in due course. And that's great. It contributes to the atmosphere. And I can just inform you, you'll find it interesting, I think, I can inform you of one family I know in South Africa, where I'm based now, and I have been based for getting on for 45 years. And this is a family of devotees. The parents are grandparents now. And their children, they're initiated devotees, their children are. And the grandchildren, anyway, they're nice children. So in their house, their living room, like their lounge, their living room, it's not as big as this room, but I'd say it's half the size or something like that. It's about half the size. And devotees and friends, consider this. They collect our calendars, which, you know, they're kind of biggish size, a month, a page, and each page has a picture of Krishna or Balaram or Lord Chaitanya or Radharani or Radha and Krishna. You know, these nice pictures. They've been collecting them for about the last, getting on for 50 years. They got a lot of pictures. And you know what they do with the pictures? They just stick them on the walls, without frames, just straight onto the wall, like with sellotape or something. So, devotees and friends, listen to this. You cannot see the walls, the actual walls, because the pictures are completely covering the walls from the floor level to the ceiling. You cannot see the walls. And believe it or not, you cannot see the ceiling either. It's completely, totally covered with pictures of Krishna. It is, I would say, the most Krishna conscious room I've ever been in. And it's really quite an amazing experience to go in there. Very conducive atmosphere for meditation and focusing spiritually. So, you know, you could do that yourself, actually, but at least do something. Put up some nice pictures and make a nice atmosphere. It's better than, you know, putting up pictures of the usual things, a bowl of flowers, or a mountain with a lake. You know what I mean? The usual things people put up. Or if you're from a Hindu background, Shahrukh Bai, if you know what I mean. Or what's their name? Aishwarya and Abhishek. Yeah, that sort of picture. Yeah, you know, just the ordinary sort of pictures you get. But try and make your place of residence a spiritual place. So when you come home from working or studying, whatever you're doing, then you come in and you feel, right, this is nice. This is home. Home is where the heart is. And my heart is really here. So it's good to do like that. We recommend it strongly. And in the evening, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. In the evening, instead of watching TV and all that, have a Krishna conscious program at home. Why not? It's pretty simple. And it's a lot nicer. I mean, once you get used to doing it, you have to get into it a bit. But once you get into it a bit, it's really nice to do, rather than just watch TV. As they call it, the idiot box. That's an old term from England. It's not from the devotees. It's just from the people. They call it the idiot box. So, yes, sir.
I kind of do the same thing, but I put pictures on my phone, like wallpapers.
That's good.
Open my phone and I just, every time just seeing it, it's like I'm attracting that energy to me.
Sure. I do the same thing.
So I'm gonna take your advice. I'm gonna put some picture around my house.
Sure. Great. Excellent. That's good because, generally people work or they're at university or something. So you can't be in your place all the time unless you're working from home. So yeah, to have something like that so you can just have it there. That's great.
Especially when I'm going through like a spiritual journey, like I'm going through like the Rising Phoenix journey. So I put it as my background. So every time I see it, it kind of like telling me, align yourself with this path.
Excellent. That's just really great. I am now going to include that.
I'm practicing alchemy, and I'm also trying to let go of my ego, my pride.
Okay. Okay.
Especially because of the environment I live, which is the hood, and I'm trying to. I just went to an experience where I was like, maybe I need to align myself with my ego, but I just went to a very bad experience where my ego didn't take me nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And as of lately, it's been so hard to control that ego, and I've been trying to find like you said, people with consciousness, with higher consciousness.
Right. Yeah, sure.
That's what allowed me to this place. I met High Priest Ryan and
Romeray.
Huh?
Romeray, you met Romeray.
Oh, I see. Okay.
While going through a spiritual journey.
Right, great.
And I'm trying to find the devotees, like you said, with higher consciousness. That
Right.
Go to and learn from.
You are on the right path. You definitely are. And I'm going to take the one thing you said about having the pictures on your phone and include it when the next time I talk about this subject, along with the pictures on the wall. That's good, because I do it myself, actually.
I can tell you rich consciousness, like you remember things from childhood. That's impressive.
See this? This is Prabhupada. This is my telephone. Jai Prabhupada. Can you see him? Anyway, yeah, he's there. And there's others. Okay, thank you. Any other? Yeah. Oops. Sorry. Okay. That's all. That's all, folks. The boss has spoken.
So thank you all very much for coming here. We'll have a very short kirtan, and then you can all come down to the lotus room, downstairs, and we'll serve a whole feast to you. Nicely cooked by the devotees with love and devotion. But just stretch yourself out, get yourself stand up. Everyone stand up. We'll have just a little short kirtan.